The alarm goes off. And in that single paper-thin second before the day grabs you, you are free. Free from yesterday's regrets, free from tomorrow's fears. Right here, right now, in the silence before the world begins to shout, you hold something ancient warriors would have recognized as sacred. A blank slate, a new life, a chance. Marcus Aurelius understood this. Every morning, ruling the most powerful empire on earth, facing barbarian invasions, political betrayal, the death of his children, he still sat down, picked up a stylus, and chose who he was going to be. Not because the world was kind, because he had decided the world's mood was not his master. That decision, that single decision, is what separated the philosopher-emperor from every other man who simply woke up and drifted. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't lose their days at midnight. They lose them at 6 a.m. The moment they reach for their phone before they've reached for their mind. The moment they let anxiety script their morning before they've had a single conscious thought. The moment they hand their power to the world for free. Stoicism has one answer to this. Not 10 rules, not a 47-step morning checklist. One answer. Discipline your inner life first, and the outer life follows. But here's what nobody tells you. Discipline in the morning isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. It's about building a fortress inside your mind so strong that by the time the world comes at you, you're already standing. We're about to break that down into 10 real, battle-tested Stoic morning habits. Not motivational fluff, not ancient theory dressed up in modern packaging. Real practices that Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca lived by. Practices that will change how you think, how you move, and who you become before most people have even opened their eyes. Before we dive in, if this is the kind of content that sharpens your mind, hit subscribe and drop a comment right now telling me, I am ready to own my morning. Let's go. Most people wake up and immediately feel their way into the day. They feel tired, they feel anxious, they feel unmotivated. And because they feel it, they believe it. And because they believe it, they become it. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up and ask, how do I feel today? He woke up and asked, what is mine to do today? That is not a small distinction. That is the difference between a life that is lived and a life that is endured. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire, learning to want only what is in your control and releasing everything that isn't. And desire begins with the questions you ask. Ask a weak question first thing in the morning. Why is this so hard? Why can't I catch a break? And your mind will spend all day building the evidence for that answer. Ask a strong question. What can I control today? How can I bring my best to what is in front of me? And your mind goes to work on that instead. Tomorrow morning, before your feet hit the floor, ask yourself one question. What is in my power today? And am I willing to own it? That question is your sword. Pick it up before the world picks up theirs. Drop a comment below. I wake with purpose, not feelings. The first 20 minutes after you wake up is when your mind is most open, most impressionable. And what do most people fill it with? News, social media, other people's opinions, other people's problems, other people's agendas. They pour the world into the cleanest part of their mind and then wonder why they feel scattered, reactive, and drained before they've even had breakfast. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, Then do what you have to do. You cannot decide who you will be today if someone else has already filled the frame. The practice is simple, but requires real discipline. For the first 20 minutes after you wake up, no phone, no notifications, no news, no scroll. Just you and your mind, getting acquainted with each other before the world shows up. Use that silence. Breathe. Think. Set your intention. Let your mind wake up before you hand it to an algorithm. This is not optional. This is the fortress gate. Guard it. Comment below. My mind comes first. The phone can wait. Marcus Aurelius wrote the meditations not to publish them, not for legacy, not to go viral. He wrote them for one reason: to hold himself accountable to his own standards before the day had a chance to erode them. That's Stoic journaling. Not the kind where you list what you're grateful for and call it done. The kind where you interrogate yourself. Where you are honest about where you fell short yesterday. Where you commit to who you intend to be today. Where you write it down so that the vague noise in your head becomes a clear, concrete declaration your future self can be held to. Seneca examined his entire day every morning. What he said, what he did, hiding nothing from himself, passing nothing by. That kind of ruthless honesty is what produces unshakable character. Try this. Each morning, write 3 lines. 1 sentence on what you failed to do well yesterday. 1 sentence on what you will do differently today. 1 sentence on who you are choosing to be right now, in this moment. 3 sentences, no fluff. And watch what happens to your clarity. Comment below. I write myself into strength every morning. Here is a Stoic principle that makes most people deeply uncomfortable, which is exactly why it works. Epictetus had no legs. He was born a slave. He owned nothing, controlled nothing in the external world. And yet, he is one of the most quoted minds in history because he mastered the one thing no one could take from him: his inner response to hardship. He didn't become that man by sleeping in. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, deliberately choosing hard things early so that when hard things were forced upon you, they found you ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote about denying himself warmth, softness, and ease, not to punish himself, but to train himself never to need them. Your version doesn't have to be dramatic. A cold shower, sitting in silence instead of scrolling, tackling the hardest task first. What matters isn't the specific difficulty. What matters is the act of choosing hard before comfort has a chance to negotiate. Because comfort whispers, just this once, just 5 more minutes. And before you know it, tomorrow becomes a habit. Choose the hard thing. Now. Comment below. I choose hard. Hard makes me unbreakable. One of the most powerful and most misunderstood Stoic practices is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Before your day begins, you spend a few quiet minutes imagining the obstacles, the frustrations, the people who might test your patience, the plans that might fall apart. Not to dread them, not to catastrophize, to prepare. Marcus Aurelius used this every single morning. He reminded himself that he would meet ingratitude, arrogance, cruelty, things that would not go as planned. And by the time any of that actually arrived, and it always did, he wasn't blindsided. He had already met it in his mind and chosen his response. Most people walk into every day expecting it to be smooth, and then fall apart when it isn't. The Stoic walks in expecting friction, and is ready to be gracious when it appears. Seneca said, "Nothing happens to the wise man contrary to his expectation." That isn't pessimism, that's preparation. Tomorrow morning, spend 60 seconds asking yourself, what could go wrong today, and how will I respond with wisdom if it does? Not to fear it, to be ready for it. Comment below, I am prepared. I am unshakeable. There is a moment, usually mid-morning, when reality refuses to cooperate with your plan. The meeting runs long. The project stalls. The person you counted on drops the ball. And in that moment, every average person chooses resentment, frustration, blame. The Stoic chooses something else entirely. They choose amor fati, the love of fate. The love of what is, not what was supposed to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart." That is not passive. That is not giving up. It is the deepest form of power, the ability to take what you are given and turn it into fuel. Every obstacle that arrives in your morning is your training ground. The alarm that goes off too early trains your ability to rise. The hard conversation trains your ability to be honest. The plan that falls apart trains your ability to adapt without losing yourself. When something goes wrong today, and it will, whisper these 3 words. I will use this. Comment below. I love what life sends. I use it all. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. He was a military commander, a lawmaker, a philosopher, a husband, a father. His life demanded more than any one person should be asked to give. And yet, the Meditations reveal a man of extraordinary focus. Not because he did everything at once, but because he knew, at every moment, what the most important thing was. And he returned to it, relentlessly, despite everything pulling him in other directions. Each morning, before the day pulls you in 14 directions, name the one thing. The single task that, if it is done well today, makes everything else either easier or unnecessary. Not 10 things, not a list. One thing.
Seneca warned, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. Spreading your attention across 20 tasks doesn't make you productive, it makes you busy and effective are not the same thing. Write it down. Let it be the gravitational center your morning orbits around. And when distraction comes, and it will, return to your one thing with the calm certainty of a man who knows exactly what he's here to do. Comment below, I know my one thing. I will protect it. There is a reason Stoic philosophers walked. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, was famous for teaching while walking the painted porch of Athens, the Stoa itself. Movement wasn't separate from philosophy. Movement was philosophy. The Stoics understood something that modern science is only now confirming. The state of your body determines the state of your mind. When your body is still, sluggish, and soft, your mind follows. When your body is activated, deliberate, and alive, your mind sharpens to match. Marcus Aurelius trained physically even during the campaigns of war, not because his legions needed to see it, but because he needed it. Because he understood that a disciplined body and a disciplined mind are not separate goals. They have the same goal from two different angles. You do not need to run a marathon tomorrow morning, but you need to move. Push-ups, a walk, a cold shower followed by 10 minutes of stretching. Whatever it is, do it deliberately, with full attention, treating the movement of your body as an act of mental training. Because every morning, you choose to move despite not feeling like it, you prove something to yourself, that your choices are stronger than your moods. Comment below, my body moves, my mind commands. Most people respond to the world as it comes. Someone is rude to them, they become rude. Someone doubts them, they doubt themselves. Someone is anxious around them, they absorb that anxiety. They are mirrors, reflecting back whatever environment they walk into. The Stoic is not a mirror, the Stoic is a source. Each morning, before you step out into the noise, you decide who you are, not who you were yesterday, not who you've been told to be, who you choose to be today. Epictetus taught his students to rehearse their character in the morning, the way an athlete rehearses a movement. Today I will be patient, not because it's easy, but because I have chosen patience as my practice. Today I will be honest, not because the world rewards it, but because honesty is what I am. Today I will be fully present, not scattered, not distracted, but completely here. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning of the virtues he was committed to: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Not as goals he hadn't reached yet, but as the identity he was already living out. Who do you want to be today? Name it. Say it out loud. Then go live it. Comment below, I define my character. Every single morning. Here is where we end. Not with a war cry, with stillness. Sit with this for a moment. Every morning that you wake up is a gift that has already been given and cannot be returned. The hours of today cannot be saved, stored, refunded, or relived. They will pass, whether you fill them with intention or let them evaporate into autopilot. The Stoics called this memento mori, remember that you will die. But they didn't use it to make you afraid. They used it to wake you awake. Because a person who truly understands that their time is finite never wastes a morning waiting to feel ready. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Not as a morbid thought, as a clarifying one. Because nothing sharpens your priorities faster than the honest acknowledgement that time is not infinite. Each morning, before you begin, hold this truth gently in your mind. This day will not return. The person I meet today, the work I do today, the choice I make today, these happen once. Only once. Not to make you anxious, to make you present, to make you grateful, to make you choose to actually live this one day. Fully, deliberately, without apology. The Stoics didn't fear death, they feared wasted life. There is a difference, and it matters. Today is not a rehearsal. Own it completely. Comment below, I live each day like it matters, because it does. 10 habits, 10 practices, handed down from men who faced empires, slavery, poverty, war, and still chose wisdom over reaction, discipline over drift, character over chaos. These aren't ancient relics. They are the most relevant tools you have, because the battle they're designed for hasn't changed. The battlefield is still the same place it has always been, the space between your ears, in the first 30 minutes of every single morning. Marcus Aurelius said it best, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You now have the map. The only question is whether you're willing to walk it. Subscribe if you're building the kind of mind that doesn't break. Share this with someone who needs it. And drop a comment below. Tell me which one of these 10 habits you're committing to starting tomorrow. I'll see you in the next one.